I'm happy to hear that. That seems to have relieved to me a bit, but that's not sufficient.
Okay.
Now, the next thinking or the next horizon for me would be: has there been any significant, deliberate effort by the government at any level, to change this stereotype about women? Because it's like the idea that the woman should be in the kitchen. So all this idea of having a woman at the top of an organization is a strange phenomenon. So has there been any deliberate, attempt by any government, either local, states, or federal, to change this stereotype?
Well, I mean, I think that there has been. There needs to be more, and I think there needs to be more in partnership with non-profit organizations, civil society, because I mean, I think every organization, everybody has their own particular role to play, and I know that working within the civil society space, we work very directly with the beneficiaries, so we know a lot of what the real issues are, and governments may not have that same perspective. So as much as they're trying to, it's also important to work in collaboration, like identify organizations, doing the work, to work with maybe the women.
So have inside empathies.
Exactly, and then work with them. But I mean, for instance, like the Minister of Communications Technology, she's a woman and she's very passionate about having more women on board. I mean, she's passionate generally about having a vibrant information technology sector and encouraging technology startups. So, she's set up, a hub, incubation hub, to encourage, young technology entrepreneurs. So that's both male and female. But I know that she's also very passionate about supporting and encouraging, more women in that space. So there is, my organization that is working directly with women. So I think that
all in all. Okay, all in all, I will hold out there. We will continue with what maybe kudos to the Minister of Communication, right? Yes, thank you for staying with us. I'm Mr. Ore Shomolu here with us. She's talking about WTech, Women Technology Empowerment Center, or opportunities for women to know how to use technology. Can we actually get Nigerian women to use technology to change the face of politics?
Yes, definitely.
I'd like to have your idea on that, for instance. Maybe we can start a revolution here.
I think it's happening already. I mean, aside from my organization trying to work with women and girls in the technology space, there are other organizations as well who have done a lot of work, especially like in the last elections, trying to put out tools that people can use to document what's happening. So for instance, there's an election, you go,
so
to vote, exactly, voting booth, and you take pictures, you stay when they're counting, you send the information, to using a particular short code, so the information is collated. So in case, a winner is announced that doesn't tally with all
what
the
you have
numbers
recorded.
Exactly. So the organizations, I mean, this Paradigm Initiative of Nigeria, I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
Yes, so they're also doing a lot of work, led by Gbenga Chesson. So I mean, that's they're targeting, they're engaging youth, both men and women.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think I think there are initiatives that are already trying to do those things, and it just needs to get to critical mass. But
okay, now how do we achieve that critical mass? Because what you are doing right now, can you give us an idea of the volume that you have dealt with since 2008? Is it significant?
Well, it's in all like about 5,000 women and girls. That's women and
You
girls
have done 5,000?
who have attended our programs, who we have spoken to. So we also go out and we speak in schools.
Or are you saying you have done 5,000 already?
Yes, not necessarily all within our trainings, but who we have interacted
Okay.
with, we have spoken to, we have gone to their schools, also in partnership with other organizations as well, doing trainings. So for instance, other organizations may have like a training workshop, invite us.
Okay, to come and assist.
Exactly, yes. And then once a year, we go around to secondary schools to talk about staying safe online.
Staying safe online?
Yes.
I like that. Oh, that's like social responsibility.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So a lot of us talk about the internet, we talk about technology, we talk about the benefits, but then of course, there's the other side, which makes, I guess, a lot of parents very protective.
Very wary.
Very wary. I remember,
especially fathers.
especially
like me.
fathers. Yes. One of our camps actually, we always introduce the girls to the internet, help them set up email accounts, and sometimes, teach them how to blog and use some social networks. And then we always go afterwards to our girls and, find out, are you still using the tools? Exactly. How has the knowledge, the experience at the WTA camp, affected you, influenced you over the longer term? And I remember one of the girls told me that she really enjoyed it, she learned so much, but in terms of internet, that her father does not allow her to go online because he believes that is bad for her. And I mean, I could understand, in a sense, where he's coming from, because the truth is there are lots of people out there who prey on young people, who prey on innocent people, and it affects not just young girls, but even obviously adults. Exactly.
Because we just had a recent story of the girl that was killed.
Exactly. Yes. And of course, even the 419 phenomenon. So you find that even grown adults are taken in by what they see. So how much more somebody who is young and maybe, exactly, doesn't have a fully formed view of the world. So I mean, I could understand it from a viewpoint, but the thing is, I don't think the answer is to completely cut off. Exactly. I think the maybe strategy, maybe more fruitful strategy, would be to monitor how they use these tools, because living in this world, it's a technology facilitated world.
Sorry, we lost that caller. Hello, we'll just ask you to please remember that there are two lines on there on the screen, one for your voice messages and the other one for text messages, your SMS. So just in case you try to reach us by voice message and it's not going through, please use the alternative. Just drop your SMS and we'll pass it on to Ore, who will be able to react to your questions or your comments. Just stay with us, don't go anywhere. Okay, continue. So
we're living in a technology facilitated world. I mean, so much of what we do is mediated by technology. So if you are not able to function in this world, then really you're left behind. So the answer is not to shut off any kind of use. Exactly. But it's to guide them, to observe, to watch, to help them. But then maybe sometimes the problem is that the parents themselves may not have the skills. So
they don't know enough about
they don't
the
know
environment.
Enough, exactly. So it's difficult for them to also
actually monitor. Because
exactly.
Children are very adept. They can get to learn this thing so quick.
Yes.
And they get to hide out. I mean, like those that we used to hide their porn magazines on that staircases and things like that. So how will parents deal with that?
They have to get educated themselves. So you can't bury your head in the sand. So we go around to schools around November, December, and talk to young people about, the benefits of being online, but also some of the maybe dangers that they could encounter. So for instance, a lot of people are on Facebook, so we talk about, how you can increase your security settings on Facebook. Exactly. So for instance, protect certain information about yourself, and then things that you can do by, for instance, not giving out personal information like your home address. Don't put your home address on your Facebook profile. Things that will make it easy for people to find you. Don't say things like, oh, my father just traveled and he came back and he brought blah, 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 and then your home address happens to be on your Facebook profile.
Because certainly some guys will be visiting.
Exactly. So things like that they can do. Lots of people take pictures on their phones and send them. So we also talk to them about that, the kinds of pictures you take and, sending. So we talk about, we explore like the tools that we know that they are using, and then we talk about them, we have a discussion, and
Okay, now I like that. There's a positive element to the fact that at least you're trying to get everybody to be on the net, because it's the modern tool. But now, how do we, for instance, begin to turn it around so that the children can begin to now think technologically rather than just for socials, meet a friend or meet a boyfriend or meet a girlfriend and just gist from morning to night? Because right now a lot of girls seem to be losing their social etiquette. You can't go out with a girl without her, after a few words, over a plate of rice. The next thing is pink. So why are we having that?
It's not just women who do that, it's men as well. I think that
seriously.
Yes.
Right,
definitely. Everybody is guilty of this, both men and women. I think that a lot of people don't have an understanding of etiquette when it comes to using technology. I think that maybe in a way the use of technology has kind of gone by so quickly that we have not been able to adapt the way that we use them. Exactly, yes. We should behave. So for instance, I mean, being on the phone, in the midst of company. So, for instance, you are having a face-to-face conversation with somebody, your phone rings, and then all of a sudden that phone call is more important than the person who you're actually, talking to. I think that's part of etiquette, talking too loudly on the phone. I think, that's also part of etiquette. And I think that a lot of people picking up the phone when you are in a meeting and continue having a conversation rather than putting your phone on silent. I think there are lots of things that people don't understand. You go to the cinema, for instance, you are enjoying the film, all of a sudden people's phones are ringing, and they actually pick up the phone and say, yes, I'm in the cinema. Yes, and so I think that men and women are guilty of this. So I think there is some education that needs to be done in terms of,
the usage.
etiquette,